My name is Karen Dowell. I'm 34 years old, and for as long as I can remember, I've been the person my family leaned on without ever really seeing. I wasn't the favorite. I wasn't the loud one. I wasn't the one they worried about or checked in on. I was the one who handled things. Bills, plans, fixes, quiet rescues no one ever talked about afterward. So when my mom first mentioned a family vacation, it didn't feel like a gift. It felt like a task list forming in my head before she'd even finished her sentence. "It's been too long since we've all traveled together," she said one Sunday afternoon, stirring her coffee like she'd just had a sweet idea. "Something international, somewhere peaceful, just us." My dad nodded without looking up from his phone. That was his version of agreement. My younger sister, Anna, lit up immediately. "Oh, somewhere coastal," she said, "but not cheap, like nice, but relaxed." I already knew what would happen next. They'd dream. I'd execute. I didn't argue. I never did. I just opened my laptop later that night and started doing what I always did, researching flights, checking passport expiration dates, comparing hotels, reading cancellation policies no one else bothered to understand. They sent me links with no context, made jokes about how I'd turn it into another work trip, talked about how good it would feel to finally unwind as a family. Not once did anyone say, "By the way, Karen, you're not actually coming." Why would they? It was my card, my accounts, my rewards points. I paid for everything. Round-trip international flights, seat upgrades, so my dad's knees wouldn't ache, lounge access because my mom hated crowds, international roaming plans so no one would have to deal with airport Wi-Fi or foreign SIM cards. I booked the hotel through my travel rewards account to get them better perks. Then I prepaid in full because it was cheaper that way. Anna sent me her passport photo and followed it with a message. "Please don't give me a middle seat this time." Everything looked normal, because to them, this was normal. We met for dinner 2 nights before the flight. Just something quick, my mom said. A chance to go over details. I was running late. Work had spiraled into one of those evenings where emails breed more emails, but I didn't stress. I'd already handled the hard parts. When I arrived, they were seated and halfway through drinks. I slid into my chair, reached for the menu, and my dad said it. Casually, calmly, like he was commenting on the weather. "Maybe it's best if you keep your face hidden when we board." I froze. "What?" I asked, certain I'd misheard. My mom laughed. Not nervous laughter, comfortable laughter. "We're just trying to keep this vacation peaceful," she said. "You know, for our mental health." Anna didn't look up from her phone. "No offense," my mom added quickly, like that softened it. "But sometimes it's better if certain people take space." Certain people. I looked at all three of them, really looked. There wasn't hesitation. There wasn't guilt. There wasn't even discomfort. They had discussed this, agreed on it, decided together that I was the problem. The person who planned and paid for every inch of this trip was somehow the disruption. I waited for someone, anyone, to soften it, to say it was a joke, to explain. No one did. So I nodded once and said very evenly, "Then I'll stay far away." Relief flickered across my dad's face. My mom smiled like I'd just been reasonable. Anna kept scrolling. They nodded, satisfied, as if I'd just done them a favor. That night, I went home alone. I imagined them upstairs later, folding clothes into suitcases I paid for, talking about the weather, the food, how nice it would be to relax without tension. Without me. I didn't cry. I opened my laptop. I logged into my carrier account first and canceled the international roaming plans. All of them. Instantly. No penalty. Then I reversed the hotel charges. My elite status made it effortless. No cancellation fee, no questions. Finally, I logged into my credit card portal and flagged every single flight charge as suspicious. All the bookings were under my name anyway. I knew exactly how the system worked, because I was the one who made it work. By the time they arrived at the airport the next morning, everything was gone. No hotel, no flights, no roaming. At 5:42 a.m., while I was eating breakfast, my phone buzzed. "We're stuck. Did you do this?" It was my mom. I stared at the message for a moment, then sent back a single smiling emoji. No explanation, no argument. Just the truth they'd never wanted to acknowledge. Silence followed, for a while. But I knew them. They always found a way to make themselves the victims, to flip the story until somehow, inevitably, I was the problem. By noon, my phone lit up like a slot machine. Missed calls from both parents. 2 voicemails from my mom. A long message from my dad that read like a sermon crossed with a corporate complaint. Then Anna. "Seriously, Karen, grow up and fix this." I didn't respond. I ate eggs and toast like it was any other Thursday. "Let me explain something." These people had no idea how any of this worked. They didn't know how to book international flights. They didn't understand cancellation windows. They had no idea what happened when the primary account holder froze roaming access. They thought the world ran on autopilot and that I existed to keep it that way. So now, stranded and confused, they were spiraling. And for the first time in years, I felt calm. By early afternoon, the calm I felt had settled into something steadier. Not joy, not revenge, just quiet. The kind you get when a noise you've lived with for years finally stops. At 1:07 p.m., my dad texted, "Karen, is this your idea of a joke? You've got serious problems. We're trying to spend time as a family, and you're acting like a child." I read it once, then again. Family. That word always came out when they needed something. I didn't reply. 30 minutes later, my mom followed. "We're still at the airport. Your father is on the verge of a panic attack. The airline says the card was reported stolen. What is wrong with you?" Still nothing from me. I watched the messages stack up while I folded laundry. The ordinary rhythm of it all felt surreal, like the world had finally aligned with my internal state, functional, quiet, mine. Then, at 4:03 p.m., Anna changed tactics. "Karen, look, I don't care about what happened at dinner, okay? But we're $800 short now. The hotel made us rebook, and the rates went up. Can you just help us so we don't have to sleep at the airport? I'll pay you back next week." I stared at that message for a long time. She was lying. We both knew it. She still hadn't paid me back for the $400 I fronted for her moving truck 3 months earlier, or the $150 emergency vet bill, or the $90 doorknob she broke and never mentioned until I got the invoice. Next week was her favorite phrase. I sent her $100. No explanation, no message, just the amount. Her reply came instantly. "What is this? This isn't funny. We need more than that." I typed back, "It's yours. You don't have to pay it back." 5 minutes passed. Then a call I ignored. Then my mom's second voicemail of the day. This time she didn't yell. She sounded wounded, confused, like someone who genuinely couldn't understand why the ground had shifted beneath her. She said they didn't know what they'd done wrong, that they were just trying to do what was best for everyone, that I was being spiteful, unprovoked, unstable. I listened all the way through, and I heard what she didn't say. She didn't apologize. She didn't acknowledge what they'd done at dinner. She didn't say my feelings mattered. She just wanted the system back online. So instead of responding, I logged into the last 2 shared accounts. Streaming, removed. Amazon Prime, removed. Then I closed the joint savings account my mom still had access to. She hadn't added a cent in 6 years, but she liked calling it our backup. It was mine. By sunset, it was gone. The family group chat went silent. Not angry silent, not dramatic silent. Confused silent. By morning, the tone shifted. My mom sent a long message, carefully worded, like she'd rewritten it 3 times. She said I misunderstood, that they weren't excluding me, just giving me space, that they were miserable now, that they wanted to move on. Then my dad followed. "This doesn't need to turn into a full-blown disaster. You've made your point. Just send the hotel confirmation so we can stay somewhere decent. We're not asking for money, just help fixing what you broke." What I broke. I ignored it. I made coffee, read the news, let the day start without them. Anna called. I didn't answer. A text came in before the ringing even stopped. "Karen, you canceled everything and now you're ghosting us? Grow up." I didn't laugh at dinner. I just stayed quiet. "That's different. Please, the hotel wants $900. I'll pay you back. Promise." Crying emoji. This was the same sister who called me from her honeymoon asking for $200 for the minibar. The same one whose car down payment I covered. The same one who once asked for $5,000 to furnish her apartment. I sent her $100 again. No note, no context. She replied, "What am I supposed to do with $100? Are you really being this petty?" I wrote back, "That one's a gift. No need to pay it back." She didn't answer. Later that afternoon, I went for a walk. No destination. Just needed air. Halfway through, my phone buzzed again. Another voicemail from my mom. She was crying now, or pretending to. She said the hotel smelled like bleach, that the staff was rude, that they'd spent all day trying to find a better place. No luck. Then came the pivot. She mentioned the baby. "Your sister says you've cut her off from the renovation funds. Her bedroom is half painted, Karen. They can't finish before the baby without help." I stopped walking. I'd already paid for the paint, the furniture, the contractors, even noise-canceling curtains for her husband's night shifts. I once saw a draft text on her phone asking me for money for a built-in closet. She never sent it. She didn't have to. I turned off my phone and kept walking. That night, lying in bed, I replayed all the ways I'd helped over the years, all the times I gave in just to keep the peace. Now they were stuck in a cheap motel, telling themselves they were victims, and I wasn't rushing in to save them. That was what hurt the most. By day 3, I expected silence. Instead, it escalated. A stranger messaged me. "Hi, Karen, I'm Alicia, a friend of your mom's from church. She's really upset. Please talk to her." They were outsourcing guilt now. Anna sent a photo of the motel room. Moldy walls, towels stuffed under the window. "If something happens to Dad's breathing, that's on you. He smoked cigars and drank whiskey like water, but now I was the health risk." Then came the public posts. My mom's vague Facebook status. Some people forget who stood by them. But God sees everything. Anna followed with a photo of her unfinished bedroom, when people who promised to help disappear. But we'll push through. Everyone knew who it was about. Texts came from my uncle, then my aunt. "Just call your mom. Don't let money ruin what matters." I didn't respond. Instead, I logged into the contractor portal and canceled the final 2 payments. She'd find out in the morning. At 10 p.m., a PayPal notification popped up. "My dad sent me $100. We'll pay back the rest soon. Just please help us get home." I stared at the screen for a long time. This wasn't guilt anymore. It was panic. And for the first time, I realized something that changed everything. They weren't afraid of losing me. They were afraid of losing control. I refunded the money. Not because I felt generous, but because I didn't want a single dollar tying me back to them. Then I sent one final message to the family group chat. "This isn't punishment, it's correction. You don't get to mock me and use me. I'm not angry anymore. I'm done. That's different." And just like that, I left the chat. I set my phone face down on the counter and made dinner as if I hadn't just detonated the dynamic my family had lived off for years. I knew it wouldn't end there. I was right. The next morning, my phone lit up with a message from James, Anna's husband. "Karen, hey. I don't really know what's going on, but Anna's been a wreck. The contractor says everything's frozen. We already started demolition." There was no anger in his words, just confusion. I didn't respond. An hour later, the contractor called me directly. His voice was tight, professional, but irritated. He said the job was halfway gutted, cabinets removed, walls exposed. He hadn't heard from Anna since the account froze. I told him the job was done. There was a pause. Then he sighed and said he wished someone had told him sooner. By noon, my cousin Sarah sent me a screenshot. It was my mom's Facebook post. An old, blurry photo of my parents at an airport, captioned like they'd been abandoned in a foreign country. They were still in New York. Relatives started tagging me. "Family is everything. Praying for reconciliation. Money isn't worth this." I removed my parents' access to my travel rewards account, the last thing they were quietly using. Free flights, hotel nights, upgrades. Gone. That afternoon, Anna left a voicemail. Her voice was cold now, controlled. "You're in control. Is this about power? I hope it's worth it. We're falling apart." But this wasn't about power. It was about peace. I just wasn't going to rescue them anymore. And that was unbearable to them. By the weekend, the unraveling turned physical. There was a knock at my door. It was James. Not Anna, just him. He looked exhausted, older somehow. He told me my parents had been kicked out of the motel. Anna was staying with a friend. The bedroom renovation was a disaster. The landlord was threatening fines. Then he handed me an envelope. "Your dad pawned his Rolex," he said quietly. "Anna sold her ring. They're trying to finish the bedroom. It's not enough." He didn't ask for money. He just asked me to talk to them. I asked him why now. He hesitated, then said something I'll never forget. "Your mom said last night, maybe if we act sorry long enough, Karen will go back to normal." That told me everything. They weren't sorry. They were scared. Scared of consequences. Scared of losing the system that kept them afloat. I handed the envelope back. "I'm not stepping back in," I said. "I wish you all the best, but they'll have to figure this out without me." James nodded, slowly. He left without another word. That night, I texted Anna once. "I'm done being the person you call when consequences show up. You'll be okay, but not because of me." Then I blocked everyone, changed my number, closed the last account my mom had access to. For the first time, silence wasn't strategy. It was peace. Months passed. No drama, no guilt bombs, no late-night emergencies. I got more done than I had in years. Traveled alone, made space for people who didn't need something from me. I finally felt like the main character in my own life. Then one day, an email arrived. No subject. It was from Ellie, my mom's half-sister's daughter. We'd met twice. "Hey, I know this is random," she wrote, "but I saw what happened. You weren't crazy. We all knew. We were just scared of being next. What you did was brave. I hope you're okay." That was it. No ask, no angle. Just the truth. They used me. They never respected me, and I had every right to walk away. And I did. The bedroom was never finished. A neighbor later told me it became a storage room. Anna never mentioned the baby again. Maybe it was a lie. Maybe it was just another card she played. My parents still drift through other people's lives, telling their version to anyone who listens. But not to me. Since James walked out of my apartment that night, I haven't spoken to any of them, and I've never felt more like myself.